Hello, this is Eric Riney from Webster University, Walker School of Business and Technology, coming to you with another analytical procedure. In this tutorial, we will be discussing break-even and sensitivity analyses. In this scenario, we have Riney Pizza Parlor, which is a local pizzeria that has been operating for 10 years. And on average, Riney Pizzas they sell around 18,000 pizzas per year, which is about 3% of the 600,000 pizza market in the area. So this is a local pizza market, and it's defined by the number of pizzas sold in the market, which is 600,000 units. However, there has not been any growth for Riney Pizzeria, and the owner has asked you to provide some direction in terms of what they could possibly do to grow. You are provided with a perceptual map of Riney and competitors, as well as operations of Riney Pizza Parlor. So what we're going to do is we're going to conduct a break-even analysis and profitability analysis, and we'll use elasticity of demand and look at some other issues to see what we can do to help them resolve their problem. All right, so the first thing we need to do is look at the information we've been provided. And here, we're provided with a perceptual map of Riney Pizzeria and its competitors. And you can see here that there are 6 competitors. We have the perceptual map based on price and quality, which seem to be two of the biggest factors that are important to the market segment, and this is based on a 5-point scale, 1 being low, 5 being high in terms of the relative price, and then the relative quality. We also have the market share of each one of these competitors in this $600,000 pizza market, and we see that Papa John's and Domino's has the lion's share. As mentioned, Riney Pizza only has 3%, so it's the smallest one out of the bunch. We're also given information in terms of 4 customer segments, and again, this is based on price and quality. Now, price is reverse coded, and this is simply so it will fit correctly on the map. So each of these ratings for price is based on a 5-point scale, but as you move up in the number towards 5, that means they're less sensitive to price. It's less important to them. So this customer segment 4 does not really worry about price at all. They're highly worried about quality. So this is still on the 5-point scale, and it's still 1 low, 5 high. And you see that this segment, they're not price sensitive, but they care about their quality. Similar in terms of this segment as well. We also have the market share for each one of these segments. So we can come over to the perceptual map, and we see the illustration of this data on this map. The size of the stars represents the size of each one of the customer segments, and then the location on the map, of course, is the relative price and quality importance. And we see here that this 4th customer segment is up here where the price is not important, but quality is high compared to customer segment 3 and so forth. We also have these circles which represent the various competitors, and we see down here Papa John's and Domino's are vying for these 2 market segments, and you know, they're the ones that are primarily answering the call for low price, low quality pizza, and they're doing a good job in this market. We have Riney Pizza, which is located here. Next closest competitor is Pizza Fantastic, and we see up here that there is a fierce battle between pie and pizza Italian for this market segment. So we can glean quite a bit of information from this perceptual map. One, highly competitive here, highly competitive here. May not be as easy to get in here or here. Um, this is not necessarily a bad spot for Ronnie Pizza, but just off of this, you can anticipate why Pizza Fantastic may be a little bit larger than Ronnie Pizza. They're a little bit closer to this market segment. Ronnie Pizza, however, might be pulling in some of these individuals here. Maybe, every once in a while, people who order pizzas want to go out and have a good time, so they might go to a pizza parlor and actually pay a little bit more for pizza. So that might be part of what Ronnie Pizza is getting, and they may be getting a little bit of this group and maybe this group, but these two are probably not as satisfied because of the quality. So these are some of the things that Ronnie Pizza needs to think about. Should it shift up this way by changing quality? Should it shift this way by changing price, etc.? What are some of the things we need to do? All right. We're also given some other information in terms of the operations, and we see that the rent is $3,000 per month, which comes out to $36,000 per year. Salaries is $6,000 per year, and then we have some variable costs for our pizza, the toppings and preparation. We also have 2 workers per shift, 8-hour shift, and we have 2 shifts per day. And it's $11 per worker, and they can produce 10 pizzas per hour. The average price per pizza is $12, and we know our elasticity of demand is 1.33. All right. We're given some additional information over here, and I'll speak a little bit to this, but then we'll come back to it later on. So we have our current ratings on a 5-point scale for each one of our toppings. Again, 5 being the best and 1 being the worst. So our crust is really well known. We're known for our crust. Our sauce, yeah, not so much. Cheese, there's room for improvement, and other toppings are relatively high as well. And we've done some costing and some analysis on improving the sauce and the cheese. These are 2 areas that we can improve. Cost for the sauce is $8, but we can do a new sauce at $17, and it has an approval rating of 4.3 compared to a 2.2. Same thing with the cheese, 22 cents extra, but it would get us from a 3.5 rating to a 4.4. And it's anticipated that we would sell 18% more in terms of pizzas just by changing either the sauce or the cheese, 23% if we change the cheese. So that's a little bit of information that we'll use in our sensitivity and scenario analyses. All right, so let's go back to this original information, and let's just do break-even and profitability analysis based off of this. So again, break-even analysis, we take our fixed cost divided by our contribution. And our contribution is our price minus our variable cost. So we need to make sure we identify all of these. Our fixed cost is going to be our rent, which is $36,000 per year, plus our salary, which is $64,000, which gives us $100,000. And this is a fixed cost because no matter how many pizzas we make, we still have to pay this $100,000. We can make 10 pieces, we can make 500 pizzas. We still have to pay this. Our variable cost is going to shift depending on the number of pizzas that we make. So our total variable cost is going to shift depending on the number of pizzas we make and the variable cost per pizza. So the variable cost per pizza, we have our cost of our toppings in preparation, which comes out to $1.26. Plus, we also have to think about the wages for our workers. Each worker is $11 per hour. They can make an average of 10 pizzas per hour. So that's $1.10 per worker per hour. But we have 2 of them. So that's $2.20 per pizza. All right. $2.20 plus this $1.26 gives us $346 in terms of our variable cost. Now that we have our variable cost and our fixed cost, we know our average price per pizza is $12. And again, we sell multiple size pizzas, but this is an average across all of those. All right. We see here that our break even, if we take our fixed cost divided by price minus variable cost, gives us a break even of 11,710 units. So that's how many pieces we have to sell. We're averaging around 18,000 per year. So we are over our break even, which means we should be profitable at this point. All right. So I'm going to skip down here and look at the actual profitability. Market share, we already know the market size is 600,000. We have 3% of the market share. It's just dividing this 6,000 and 600,000 into this 18,000. That gives us this 3%. But skipping down here to total revenue, total cost to give us total profit. Our total revenue, all we're doing is multiplying our demand of 18,000 times our price. That gives us our total revenue. Then we're looking at our total cost, which is going to be the 100,000 plus the variable cost times the number of pizzas that we're selling, and that gives us 162,280 for a total profit of 53,720. All right, so that is the initial break-even analysis. Now, we know our elasticity of demand is 1.33. What this means is that for every 1% increase in price, we expect a 1.33% increase in demand. All right. And I'm saying a difference, a change in demand, because we know price and demand are inversely related. So if price goes down, we expect, if it goes down by 1%, we expect a 1.33% increase in demand. If price goes up by 1%, then we expect a decrease of 1.33% in demand. Okay, so we can take this information and we can come down here and change our price and see what happens to demand just by changing our price. So if we just do a 1% increase in price, so $12 times 1% would be 12 cents, so $12.12, an increase of 1%. And we see here that that is going to negatively impact our demand by 1.33. And so we see our new demand is 17.76, or our new estimated market share is 2.96. So there's a couple ways you could do this. We could divide this by 100 to give us 0.0133, and then we can multiply that times our where is it, our demand, and then that would give us our new demand. So we could do it that way, or we can change we can look at the 3%, which is our original market share, and we can multiply that times this new demand, well, 1 plus this new demand, and that would give us this 2.96. Then we could do this to 2.96 times the 600,000 market share, and it would come up with the same thing. So here, the way I did it was I actually did it where we look at this 3%, all right, and we're going to change this 3% by the change in demand based on our change in price, so this 1.33% decrease in demand. And so that will give us this 2.96. 2.96, if you multiply that times the 600,000, that will give you this 17.761. All right, so that's our new demand based on this price. All right, if we go to $15, we can see that that's a 25% increase in price. Look what happens to our demand. Our demand really goes down, and now we're only going to make 12,000 pizzas. only have 2% of the market share. And we can see what happens to our profitability based on that. So our profitability here now is 38,000 compared to 53,000 up here where it was originally. So you can see that, when people say, well, just if you want more profit, just increase the price. Well, that is not necessarily going to happen, and that's because of elasticity of demand. All right. So some of the other things we could do is we could look at changing our sauce, changing our cheese, and anticipating what that might do in terms of demand and profitability. So if we change our sauce is an extra 9 cents, so it goes from 8 to 17 cents per pizza. So our variable cost goes from 346 to 355. Nothing else changes. It's going to change our break even because our contribution is going down by 6 cents per unit, or I'm sorry, by 9 cents per unit, which means we're going to have to make more pizzas to make up for that. However, our demand, which was originally 18,000, is forecasted to go up by 18% just by changing this sauce. So now instead of 18,000, if we do an 18% increase on that, or if we multiply this times 1.18, that gives us now 240 units of pizzas, or the number of pizzas that we anticipate selling. All right, that would be 3.54% market share instead of this 3% at this 18. We can see what our profitability is here based on that. So our profitability has gone up, and that's without any change in price. Okay, here we still have our elasticity of demand, and we could still change our elasticity and see what it might do in terms of our profitability the same way we did over here. One of the things I added here is a shift in elasticity. So by changing the sauce, increasing the quality of the sauce, what we might end up doing is shifting from here over to this segment. And we might satisfy this segment a little bit more, and they're less price sensitive. So that 1.33 is kind of an average for the entire market, but each one of these market segments has its own elasticity of demand. We just don't have that information at hand, but we can anticipate that we would likely be able to change our elasticity of demand here. So right now our elasticity of demand is 1.33. And again, if we change this to 12.12 cents, we can see what the shift in demand will be from our original demand up here by changing the sauce and etc. What our cost would be. So right now we're almost at 21 in terms of the number of pieces that would be demanded. But we could shift this elasticity and decrease it, anticipating that we're moving closer to that customer segment 3. So maybe we could shift this down to possibly 1.15 or something like that. And we can see what that does in terms of shifting everything. All right. And we see what our new demand is here. Actually, I don't think I have this in here correctly. I don't know if I may have not count. Let's see. Oh yeah. It's in there. It's in there correctly. Okay, so you can see that changing this from 1.33 to 1.15 changes our estimated market share to 3.5, and originally it was 3.49. I mean, a small shift, not very much, but it could add up. All right. Let's say that changing that sauce or possibly the cheese would actually create inelastic demand, such that we don't even have to worry about price. We could go to 0.75 or something like that, and you could see how that would change everything here. All right, and we could use this information then to anticipate what changes might occur. And I've done that for the sauce. I've done that for the cheese. Um, and then I've also combined the two, and you can see the price for the two would be the 9 cents plus the 22 cents. That is the extra for the cheese. That gives us 377 compared to 346. Now, one of the things I did here in terms of increase in demand is I discounted this anticipated increase. I don't expect us to have the sum of these two. Instead, I expect us to have some portion of this. So we might only get this 23% actually. But what I did is I added the two together and then I subtracted 8%. But it's probably more than likely you'll only get whichever the highest one is. That'll probably be the most you get. But it's up to you to make those kind of calculations and decisions in terms of your analysis. Of course, you want to make sure that you can support whatever your assumptions are in your analyses. All right. So based on that, we have a new demand if we do the cheese and the sauce, and we can see what our profitability is here compared to the rest of these. And again, we could do the same analyses. All right. One thing that I want you to be aware of in this analysis, this variable cost is actually underestimated. And the reason for that is because we're basing it off of our capacity, which is 10 pieces per hour. But are we actually making 10 pieces per hour? If we look at this 18,000 and we think about, okay, well, how many days are we operating? And, if we're that number of days times 16 hours, assuming that we have 2 8-hour shifts, we can anticipate how many pizzas we're making. So down here, we're operating 300 days per year on average. And you can see here that if we actually made 10 pizzas for this 300, we would make 48,000 pizzas. This is our capacity, 48,000 pizzas. We're only making 18,000 pizzas, which means we're 30,000 units below our capacity. So how many pizzas are we making on average? We're making 3.75 pizzas, which is way under our capacity. All right. So we have a lot of room to grow. And, here you could ask the question, well, do we even need 2 workers if we're only making 3.75 pizzas? Well, the answer is yes, because you really need 2 people to operate the parlor. You can't really do it with just one person. So we need to increase the number of pizzas per hour. However, if we were to use this as our average per hour in calculating our variable cost instead of the 10 pizzas that we used up here, so I used 10 here, but I'm going to use 3.75. Wow, our variable cost has really increased because we're not making that many pieces and we're having to divide the cost of the workers per pizza, with fewer pizzas, only 4 pieces compared to 10 pizzas. So our variable cost is now 713. That's tremendous. That's huge. And we can see that we're actually negative in terms of our profitability because of that. Now, pizza is not the only thing that the pizzeria has, thankfully. So, this variable cost of the workers is not completely divided by the pizza, but that is something that you need to really think about. And of course, if you were to do this, you would have to translate this or transfer this across all of them. All right. So that's information in terms of how to set up your analyses. And then based off of this information, we can do different scenarios and make a determination of what would be best profitable, highest profitability. So how do we maximize our profit we need to keep in mind some other things, such as, how closely are we getting to other competitors, and what might that do in terms of, our ability to gain market share. Also, we need to keep in mind the elasticity of demand and shifts in that as well. All right, but you could use this then to really help Riney Pizzeria make some critical decisions based off of this information. So there you have it, break-even analysis and elasticity of demand and sensitivity analysis. Again, my name is Eric Riney from Webster University. You can contact me at my email information. You can also contact me on Twitter or LinkedIn, and certainly you can find me on YouTube. Join me for another one of my marketing analytics videos. There are more to come, and if you like this one, hit the like button, and you can also join my page. Take care, and I'll see you soon.